Hello, my name is Stacy Kiggins and I am the high school language arts specialist. I am going to give a very brief overview of how to navigate the materials on the Return to School site. We will have a more in-depth focus on these units during our in-service on August 19th. So for right now, I'm just going to show you where things are and what is here. Let's start with accessing the site itself. From the Return to School site, you're going to click on High School and then English. And I'm going to show you English 12 as an example. All of these streamlined curriculum guides look the same. We have included the Year at a Glance link here at the top so that you can see a macro view. And as you can see here, the texts that are hyperlinked in purple are already adapted to virtual learning, and these are published and live on our site. We will continue to update links here and in the Streamline guide as we finish them. So this has all 4 grade levels. And you'll see that every grade level is beginning with the Why Stories Matter unit. So like the Reflections unit we wrote for the spring, this is a unit designed for teachers and students to establish and strengthen relationships while providing academic literary discourse and assessment. Back to the Streamlined curriculum guides. You'll see that we have created what we call year-long essential standards for English. And for all of our courses, we decided that it was best to identify all 8 strands put forward by the VDOE. We know that teachers can't not teach writing and reading. And so then below, we've highlighted the benchmarks that when and if teachers are pressed to prioritize, we felt were the most encompassing and rigorous for the spirit of the standard. So below, you'll see that all of the hyperlink units are here that were in the Year at a Glance. And to the right, we've pulled out those priority benchmarks that these units explicitly will cover. So I'll show you a very quick overview of Why Stories Matter because every grade level will theoretically start with this. And while it opens, I will add 2 caveats. One, that none of these units are required or mandated by our office. And 2, none of the anchor texts or suggested texts, if they exist within the unit, have been centrally approved. Those of you that are familiar with our CBC units, you'll recognize that this landing page is slightly different from things that we've published before. We created this overview page to direct you to the most relevant documents within the CBC guide. If you open up the unit guide, this ought to start looking a little bit more familiar. This is the landing page for all the relevant materials in the unit. Let's go into the pacing guide, which is also linked in both places. So it's linked here in the unit guide, and it's linked here on the overview page. This is the real heart of our unit. If you click on nothing else this entire time, this is the link that you ought to use. Within this hyperdocument are embedded daily lesson slides and suggested materials to use both synchronously and asynchronously. And since every grade level will use this unit, I will just pull up one such lesson and click through so fast so you can see how much material there is that has been planned for you to use in this unit. I'm only showing this to you so you can see how we've built in suggestions for digital platforms and have put careful consideration into how this might work in an 80-minute digital setting. We offered lots of suggestions like Google Classroom and Padlet and Pear Deck, but we know that some teachers might want to stay on a single platform, which is, we think, a much better strategy for teachers anyway. But we just wanted to make sure that some of the popular tools we know teachers are using are making appearances within their unit. And again, the whole point of this unit is for teachers to make copies for themselves and edit based on what they think their students need. So back to that landing page, those summative assessments are linked here, and so is this vertical skills tracker that we made. You'll see that if you teach this unit exactly as it is written, these standards and benchmarks are addressed within it, and we did that for all of the units that we have published. So the last thing that I want to show you is this supplemental Google Sites. This is so extra. We made one of these for each of our virtual units, but they are very much in a draft form. These are designed to give teachers one more way to house and organize asynchronous work, because in our very informal feedback we received from parents this spring, they mentioned that kids didn't always know what was mandatory homework, what was suggested for further exploration, and what was supposed to be done in class if they had missed one. So these sites are designed just to show teachers what is possible. Okay, so that's the overview that every unit has, but now I want to take you into a specific grade level unit just to show you 2 additional things, and then I will be done. So we're in English 12, back on the essential standards, which came from this return to school site, just to take us all the way back at the beginning. We're in English 12, we were just in Why Stories Matter, and now we're going to go into counterculture. About halfway down this overview site, which you'll see looks exactly like the Why Stories Matter one, we have added in this IB adaptation subject guide, and we have AP teachers working on ones for AP even as we speak. Within these guides are suggestions for teachers to use the material that has already been written and how to adjust it to fit within the parameters demanded by the IB or the College Board. These include suggestions to adjust assessments and how to fit in texts that are required by the programs, and they also, you'll see, include direct links to the materials provided for those programs. Finally, back to this overview page, I want to show you on the pacing guide. The stories unit was based entirely on student choice, but here is where the teachers will find the supplemental draft approval form for the text that has been suggested by this unit. And because these are concept-based curriculum units, of course, any text that deals with counterculture would be an appropriate text to include here. We went ahead and did a lot of the legwork for you to show you how this could be filled out and completed for your sample IS 694 rationale. So, okay, that is it. And I hope you found this walkthrough user-friendly and clear as you sort through the plethora of resources